What's up, guys? Welcome to the Weightlifting Scoop. We've had a couple episodes in the past couple of weeks. We did our Nationals recap, first episode in a while, and we're coming back at you with a little bit of Pan Am's talk. I got Jeremy Warner, one of the coaches that was down there in Cali, Colombia. So, Jeremy, what's going on, buddy?
Buenos noches, right? Hey man, like it's always good. So I studied a lot of Latin American culture and stuff, so it's always good to go down to South America, but I feel like that's the main place we've traveled for international travel, right? Like all over Colombia. So it's interesting to say the least with the Pan Am Federation always.
Yeah, I guess the first time I met Gabe was for the training camp for Bogota. So
Yeah.
that was the last time that wasn't too long ago when you guys traveled to Colombia the first time. But that's different, right? I mean, that's a high elevation. What's Cali like? I've been there one time, but I don't even remember.
Yeah, so I looked, it was a little over 3,000 feet where we were at,
Oh,
so
okay. So
not
there's some
really enough.
elevation.
Yeah, it's not really enough to have that big of effect. But it's still something that you always want to check on. Obviously, you just never know.
Yeah, and then so there's three main cities that we travel to in Colombia for weightlifting. You got Bogota, high up in the mountains. You got Cali, I guess is kind of in the middle, and then Cartagena, which is on the beach. So
Hmm.
that's different. That's usually hot as hell,
Yep.
and and a little different atmosphere. What was the weather like down there in Cali this time of year? Was it really hot or kind of
No,
mild?
so it's funny because everybody comes from a different place. So everybody on the team had like their own idea of what the weather was like. Being up here, like in Maryland right now on the Eastern Shore, it's been so ridiculously humid. We've got a heat index like over 110 each day. So to me, it was nice. Now during the day, you got some humidity, but there seemed to be a breeze throughout. And then the evenings, man, like the early mornings and evenings, just gorgeous. Like I just wanted to sit outside and hang out. But the whole like, sir, you should go inside. We do not know terrorist. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, it's funny when I went to Cali, Colombia for Junior Worlds one year, uh, they basically said like, "Oh man, this is a really dangerous spot. There's a lot of drug cartels and whatnot around here." And we were only 20, and back then, like the rules weren't as strict with the team, so we kind of had free reign. And looking back, it's a little scary. Like I wouldn't want my kids to just be going around Cali, Colombia like we were, but we were always in a group of weightlifters, so we weren't just by
Yep.
ourselves. But I mean, we would go out and walk out and go to like little, nightclubs or something, just where they were serving drinks or whatever. Now you're not allowed to drink on the
Yeah.
teams, and I think it's good. I mean,
Yeah.
it should be business
Yeah.
a little bit. You miss some of that a little bit, but I've never been a crazy party person anyway, so that was kind of out of my element. But it being so strict now is a little different. But um, anyways, for those that don't know, you're Gabe Chum's coach,
Yes.
and so Gabe lifted first. So they sent you in and flew you right out, and so
Yeah.
that's why I have the pleasure of having you on tonight to discuss Pan Am's a little bit. Um, but it was awesome. I mean, Gabe took down a silver medal, so congratulations to you guys on getting it started right. He was the first weightlifter, period, male or female, that competed, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, that was the first session. It actually kicked off before their opening ceremony, so we had to wait, after doping and all that stuff, watch the opening ceremony, go through, the first half of the next session, the 53s, I think it was, or whatever, and then get, our medal ceremony. So we're like sitting there starving. We actually ended up running out across the street and going to a burger place and grabbing food. I was like, I was about to go into a diabetic coma over here. So yeah.
That's crazy. So they didn't give out medals till after the 53s.
No, and they lined them up, and then it was like, we're asking and in broken Spanish, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we kept getting mixed answers. It was like, okay, we're gonna do it now. Oh, sorry, come back. And I'm like, okay, come back when? Because I can't really leave. I can't go back to the hotel and just come back. So it was a little confusing, a little frustrating, but we just hung out. The opening ceremony they had was nuts. I mean,
And it was after the first session, so it
yep,
really wasn't okay. Interesting. Yeah, sometimes they do that. They'll do an opening ceremony like after the first session, but I've never been that skinny, so
Right.
I
Right.
never,
Yeah.
I never had. It was funny because the last meet I was at where I lifted at 73, that was the first time where I lifted first on a team. Usually I'm like lifting
Oh yeah.
middle to middle, like right side of middle of the competition. So it was a totally different experience. There's definitely some pros to getting it over with and then being able to hang out and support the rest of the team.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about the competition a little bit. So I mean, Gabe's come on strong. I met you years ago. I mean, like 2010,
Yep. Yeah. I was just
and
telling my wife about that.
you owned a CrossFit gym in Atlanta,
Hmm.
and we have a couple of mutual friends, and so yeah, I kind of hung out at your gym a couple times and met you. But at that point, I don't think you were coaching too many weightlifters, right? You were mostly in the CrossFit space and in different areas. So anyways, fast forward to 2022. Gabe makes the world team. I made the world team. I didn't know you were Gabe's coach, and we kind of showed up at a training camp, and you're like, Travis, what's up? And a little out of context, so I'm like, what? And I'm like, Jared. I'm like, okay, like that's like a blast from the past. It's crazy. You're here with Gabe. I've never met Gabe before. And then I saw him training, and I was like, oh, at that point, he's a 55 kilo weightlifter snatching like 110, and that was in a time where we really didn't have like guys snatching 110. So I was like, oh, this guy is quite impressive.
Yeah.
So way to go, Jeremy. So, but we reconnected a little bit and have been able to chat a couple times since then. So, um, yeah, I mean, tell us a little bit about Gabe's performance down there at Pan Am's.
I was beyond pleased with it. I kept telling him like, hey, like we're gonna have a good day. We're gonna have a good day. Like everything's leading up to it. All the markers are there. This is gonna be solid. Gabe is I was describing him as Eeyore, right? I kept telling him, "Hey, where's Pooh and Piglet?" But he just has this he always pulls out kind of like the negative pieces first and then, we can turn it around and it gets positive, but he does, he has a little self-doubt here and there, right? So, and I'm sure everybody deals with that at times, and he had a tough start to this year. He had his appendix out, he had some knee pain.
Oh,
Oh man, on his 21st birthday, he's going to the hospital that night, calling me like
mm.
10 p.m., driving himself there to have his appendix removed. I was like, "Welcome to adulthood, buddy." But but yeah, he this was like the comeback, right? So decent lifts. Hit what was that 270 at nationals, and I told him I was like, "Hey man, we had no expectations there. Like, why are you down on yourself? This is fantastic." And he just always expects to do better. And he's still a young weightlifter, young in the sport. So he has high expectations, high beliefs like that. I should be doing better and better and better. And we had this little setback, so his self confidence was a little bit low. But again, markers fantastic, lifts. Look, I mean, when we went to the training hall and he was just smoking everything, he was like a totally different lifter from what I saw at nationals. Nationals, he was kind of trying to adjust his technique. He was doing all kinds of weird stuff. I was like, dude, what are you doing? Just stop. Just why are you changing? Stop it. Stop talking. Lift.
Yeah.
Have fun. You know. And he's very mental. Like he's very cerebral. Like he wants to know stuff. He wants to think about it. He wants to talk it through. So we're there, and man, stuff's just popping. I mean, he's hitting it, and he likes to do his little grip tester before he lifts, and when he like the kid's got a standing grip of like 180 pounds, right? Like just one pull, and I'm like, he hit 178. So he's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a good day. And I'm just like, all right, cool, dude, let's do it. Like, well, why don't we just lift. So yeah, so it was trending beautifully, and then comp day, I've got a routine that I go through with him with some muscle testing and some different stuff, and I just we just start working it, and by the time we're ready to go, like we're ramped up, he's good, head's in the right place. He hit 117, I think it was like one of our last lifts in the back, and he's like, tell Mike and Piros I'm taking 130 today. He's like, I don't care what my second attempt is. I want 130 for the third attempt. And I'm sitting here like, okay, boss. Like, chill. Okay. Let's medal. Let's get our place where we need it, and then we'll go from there, right? So obviously we didn't put 130 on the bar, but taking a swing at I think where were we at 126? We hit 123, so yeah, 126.
So
Uh,
what were his attempts? 20, 23, 26?
yeah, 20, 23, 26, and so his comp PR is 125 when
Mm-hmm.
he broke the AR back at American Open Finals the previous year, last year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so he's hit it multiple times. He's hit 130 a couple times. It's just a matter of, again, like that start of the year was just a real kick in the butt for him, and he hasn't been able to really string a lot of success together. And I think it's a lot of mental doubt, or it was a lot of mental doubt. I think this stoked the fire back in him because once he hit that open and snatch, he was like, man, somebody lit him up. He was ready to go. He was ready to fight. So
Awesome. So 126 technically would have been a competition PR. Is
correct.
that right? Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. And so Gabe was at 55. They changed the weight classes. I think he had already moved up to 61 just because that was the Olympic weight
Hmm.
class, correct? And then
Correct.
now they got the new weight classes 60, 65. So it's currently a 60-kilo weightlifter. I would assume that if the Olympic weight class becomes 65, which is the projected lowest weight class, that you guys would move him up. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, that's a very safe assumption. I mean, you got to go where it is, and for us, that's where we want to be. We want to be in the Olympic category. So, I he's already waiting for that to happen. I just hope that if it does and we go to 65, like how we bumped to 61, we can do it with a little more time, more notice. You know what I mean? Because that weight change was pretty short fused with all the stuff, all the changes in qualification. It didn't really give us time to fill out the weight category and be as competitive as we wanted to be, even though during that time, like he was making 20 kilo PRs like every meet he went to. It was nuts. I mean, he was just projecting like climbing this, Mount Everest. So yeah, I just that's my fear, I guess, is that if we end up doing this 65, we have to fill out 5 kilos. I mean, that's big for him.
Yeah, I mean, at least you have the opportunity to go up in weight. So I think like he is hitting these big lifts and has the ability to grow into the weight class. And you're never going to get as much time as you wish with the IWF making decisions, and then USAW kind of has to be in a holding pattern until the IWF sends that information down. But yeah, if for all indicators that I've seen is that it's going to be 65, 79, etc. But it doesn't mean that is 100% the case, right?
Yeah.
Um, but that being said, so where did he end out in the snatch? He won the snatch, right?
Yeah, so he won the snatch at that what was his highest? The 123. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
123. One gold. He was up by four, I think 4 kilos at that point when we were going into the clean and jerk. So that was solid. Like we felt real good about it. We were in a good spot. And when we were watching, everybody else in the back that had previously big numbers on the board or closer numbers to him on the board, they a lot of the South American countries they seem to take really long to warm up, and they warm up really super fast. So we're doing our normal flow, working up, working up, working up, and the one guy that we're looking at over there, he's still got like 60 kilos on the bar, and we're at 120. I'm like, what is he about to withdraw? Like, what's he doing? And then all of a sudden, it's like somebody hit the go pedal, and he's just hitting lift
60,
after lift.
90, 120.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, just going quick.
Yeah, and then like I said, so the Colombian guy, which I think was close to us in snatch, um, we were looking at him and we are looking at his clean and jerk, and he looked pretty solid over there, but he went out and didn't do so hot, didn't do as hot as we thought he would. Puerto Rico did well in comparison to what we were seeing in the back. He looked a little more shaky, a little unsure of himself, was off on a few things. Gabe looked solid all the way up to what did he do? 145. He went to readjust and he like kicked his head back, and the bar like just slid off his shoulders. I'm like, what are you doing? It was just a mistake. I just moved my head, and the thing. I'm like, please don't do that. Like, do that right now, okay?
So did he miss his last warm up and then
No, no, because we actually went up to, what did we go up to? 140. I think we went up to 148 in the back, uh,
okay.
if I remember correctly, because we went back and forth about. I always I like to put in lower numbers so that, and then give that more time. You know what I mean, in the back. So
Hmm.
I might, if I declare, like we declared 115, 145, and we knew like, hey, we're going to go out 117, 148, because that gets us closer to our goal, puts us in at least striking range, and then play it by ear. He felt really good. So instead of going out at 17, we go out at 20.
Hmm.
So we hit 17 in the back at, I think, 4 out, and then same thing with that we went up to 150. When, or no, I think they ended up just going 48. We were going to go 50, 55, or 50, 54, 58 was the original plan, but we had to jostle around a little bit based on the numbers that we're playing and the players still on the board. So that's where our flow was a little off from what he would typically go for. So
Yeah, it makes sense. So you're not taking 148 in the back, taking it out there on the platform just based on how the board looks. You got to get in the game, make sure you secure a certain position, and then you take 52. Is that correct?
yeah, I think it was 52, and then we made that big final jump, hoping that the pressure on the Brazilian would cause him to miss. If he misses, we've got it. Especially since he went the same thing we did, 158. So if he misses, we've got it in the bag. If he makes it, then we get silver and silver. So, but we were positive. We were like, "There's no way." I was like, "He warmed up to 40 in the back." Like I watched him. Like, no way. And man, just unexpected. A little grindy on the clean, and came up and just bam. I mean, he hit that jerk, and I was just like, "Oh, okay, never mind."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you never know what people have, and it really takes a moment, right? So
Yep.
people can do special things if a moment is presented to them. There's a weight on the bar you haven't done. Now, did Gabe have an opportunity after he made to try to win with the 158?
No,
No.
so we
Okay,
took
so he
we
took
took first.
first.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I actually did. I wasn't able to watch that one live. I kind of I saw the board
yep.
and in passing, but I didn't recall all the details. Um,
Well,
but yeah.
so when we took 152, so 152 pretty much knocked every player off the board, right? So
Hmm.
that secured us silver guaranteed at the 152, and then the only player left on the board was Brazil, right? So we took 52 because it secured us the medal, right? And then because I would have liked to have taken a little bit more, again 54 to close that gap, because going 52 to 58, even though you think about it, it's like, oh, it's 4 kilos versus 6 kilos. It's like, that's a big deal for a little dude, right? So,
Yeah, when you're talking about smaller weight classes, 6 kilo jumps are tough. I mean, especially if you go from a 4 kilo jump to a 6 kilo jump, you usually would like to do descending jumps and
mhm,
not ascending jumps.
yeah, 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 yeah. So, and he trains very standard. Like, he's doing 5 kilo jumps. That's just Gabe. Like, that's what he wants to do. I could write something else, and I already know what he's going to do because he sends me the videos, and I'm like, hey, dude, that attempt wasn't even on there. Like, you were supposed to do 28. That's 30. He's like, well, yeah, I know, but I'm just like, whatever, dude. Like,
Yeah, we all do that round up,
yeah,
round
that's right.
down thing. It's kind of weird to load 26.
Yeah,
Sometimes you just throw in 25 and then go 30
that's
if
right.
it's like you're supposed to take X attempts. Um, But no, that's neat. So tell us a little bit. So a lot of people out there they want to coach lifters to this level. They want to compete at this level. It's really exclusive these days. There's minimum totals that are legitimate. It's very difficult to get to this point, but once you do, what is some advice that you can tell people about like what it's like to travel there and the adjustments and some things that maybe you didn't expect, and maybe we can kind of talk through that together a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, with my background in the military and doing contract work for the government, like I've traveled extensively anyway, all over the world. So I kind of had the knowledge of like, hey, if you fly this way versus that way, it can have a larger effect on you, right? So we take that into consideration. Obviously, being versed in the altitude and always looking at that. I'm real big on researching the crime and like during the logistics calls that you'll have, they always give you the kind of blanket, hey, go out in groups, don't go out after dark, do this, don't take the cabs. And it's like, okay, well, you say that for every country, but in reality, like, what's going on? So my advice is to enroll in the Department of State's STEP program, which is the Smart Traveler something. I forget what it stands for.
Hmm.
Enrollment program. And at least then, when you're traveling overseas, one, like, it's going to make customs faster because you've already reported to DOS like where you're going, right? When you come back in. Two, if something were to happen, you're enrolled in the system and you don't have to worry about like a delay in something. Like, they're not looking for you. A great example is Junior Pan Am's during the Olympic qual year. That was the last qual for the Olympic to get into the Olympic qualification piece, and it got canceled because of the volcano being active, right? So in a scenario like that, if State Department's trying to evacuate and get everybody accounted for and find out where all the Americans are, and you're not enrolled in that program, they have no idea where you're at. They just have passport check-ins. At least this way, they like have the hotel you're staying in. They have a contact number, secondary contact and all that stuff. It's like an open reporting thing. The other thing that we're learning for all travel, and this is national or international, as a coach, sometimes even if you have a adult athlete, they will forget things, and they will forget things that you're just like, wow, really? Like, right? Like, you really didn't bring any of your supplements, like not a one. Yeah, no. What about the undershirt that you normally wear? Yeah, no, I didn't bring that either. I don't even know where that is. My sister might have stolen it. I mean, this is like reality, right? I'm just like, wow, we're doing this again. So to me, I keep threatening Gabe with giving him like a military style pre-execution checklist. Like, you will sign off on all these items and send it to me
Yeah.
before you come.
Did you take this off? You know
Yeah,
what's funny? Sometimes one of the things that I've almost forgotten a couple times, and I actually had to get overnighted to me one time, and so I'm super paranoid about it now,
yeah,
is this didn't happen at the 2022 camp, but a similar situation. You fly within the states first. All right.
yep,
So you go to Colorado first for a
yep,
camp and you
yep,
stay there for a couple weeks and you don't need your passport to get there.
yep,
And then your passport's sitting at home potentially.
yep,
I don't remember if I did that or somebody else did that, but it was like 2020 maybe it was like 2015, but the interesting thing about 2015 is it was actually in the United States, the
yep.
world's was, so you didn't actually need it to travel, but they still wanted you to weigh in with it.
Oh, wow.
And so at camp, you show up and you don't have it but at an international competition at that point, anyways, you needed your passport to
Yeah,
weigh in.
yep,
So yeah, that's something when you have those pre-camps,
yes,
sometimes you can miss things easier that are super obvious.
yeah,
Like if I'm flying directly to Colombia or directly to another country, that would never be something I'd
yeah.
forget because you can't get past the airport, right?
Yeah, yeah, don't pass go, right? So, yeah, that happened for the Bogota deal too, because I'm not going to drop names, but there was one who forgot his, and they were jumping through some hoops, like, hey, I've got a layover here, maybe so and so can drive and meet me there and give me my
Oh,
passport.
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
And I was
remember
just
that
like,
now.
man, you talk about cutting it close. Like, you're going to be en route, mid-flight, like this person's racing a car to meet you at the airport. Like, wow, okay.
Yeah, that's a real life scenario that can happen though, and like it did happen, and it's not as obvious when you have that pre-camp, right?
Yep.
It seems obvious when we're talking about now. It's like, oh, who would do that? But trust me, it happens. So it's true, and you definitely want to fly, with your stuff in your bag. I think Olivia
Yep.
has a new sponsorship, and she just made that video about packing your bag and taking it
Yes.
on the plane, and
Yep.
most of the time you don't lose it, but there's that one in every 10, 20 trips.
I feel like
And
I feel like somebody on the team every trip, there's at least one who has a baggage thing. at least one. Or there's usually multiple delayed, or I missed a flight because it was too tight to get through customs or whatever. And almost always somebody, if not multiple, that lost their baggage. So yeah, carrying your stuff, super, super, super important. Like, please, like those are like sensitive items, right? Like shoes, singlet, belt, all the things that you need to compete with. Like, I don't care if you don't have all the licky chewies in your Xbox, but like, please have everything else.
Yeah, in the background here, my eyes are wandering because I'm watching Pan Am's,
Yeah.
and Anna and Maddie are going right now. And Maddie made 106 on her opener and then missed 109. And it's a pretty tight race here. Then she came back and made 110, and that was like a must-make lift in terms of if she wants to win or,
Mhm.
get probably even medal. It's a little tight. I haven't seen the board enough to
Mhm.
really know, but yeah, she came back and made it, so that's pretty cool.
Dude,
Yeah.
the team has had a great showing at Pan Am's. Just going back through and I tried to catch some or watch some of the live feeds that All In Weightlifting had on Instagram, and especially while I was traveling, I just hit it real quick and get a quick check in, and it's been great, man. Like some strong, strong lifters these days on the international team.
Yeah, I mean the whole team's done phenomenal. So Maddie's sitting third, but she's only down by 1 kilo, so it's like super tight. And in the clean and jerk, it looks super tight as well. It looks like she's going to be in a tight battle, and it is certainly possible to win it. Um, but yes, obviously on the men's side, Gabe got second. Hamp with a chance to win, right? And then Hamp won in a tight battle. I mean, he had some really fierce competition and broke a world record in the process. And then Caden did phenomenal. He had a chance to win. Another situation where honestly, I think it's kind of a controversial call. I don't know if you saw the one where the lifter that he lost to didn't quite get his feet in line and
Uh,
he was kind of moving. I'll send you the video later. But it's pretty controversial. I had several people message me that was like, "There's no way that was a good lift," and I'm like, "Yeah, like they gave him the down signal, but they really shouldn't have given him that lift." And then Caden still had the opportunity to take a huge attempt and almost clean 204. For his body type, he's such an anomaly. Like because he looks like he would be a snatcher that struggles in the clean and jerk,
yeah.
but his jerk is amazing.
Yes.
Like his snatch is really good, his clean is really good, but his jerk is phenomenal, which is like people who are typically built like him struggle in the jerk. So it's very interesting.
I've
Uh,
loved watching him over this past, well, even through the Olympic workup, right? Like just to see his progress over that time, over that span, and up until this right here. Like, man, that kid he is getting it, like getting after it.
yeah, and then on the women's side, you had Jordan. I think she got fourth, but she medaled in one of the lifts. I think
Clean and jerk, yeah.
clean and jerk. Um, and then everybody else so far has medaled. I mean, this is one of the few times that honestly, I think so far the competition so far the men have outpaced the women, and only because I mean look at Jordan. She's coming off the Olympics, so she's obviously one of our best weightlifters ever, and she's just lifting up a weight class. I don't know if she intends to go back to 48 or if 53 is going to be the weight class and she's choosing that, but she still did great, but didn't medal. That was very competitive.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then you got I mean, geez, Olivia again. I mean,
Big, big, big
she
number.
basically just like nonchalantly
Yeah.
broke the new world records, and I mean genuinely, she had 5 kilos in each lift
Yeah.
left. So like she was on 2 minute clocks, just boom, 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 like it was nothing, and never seen anything like it. So just incredible performance again. Another 6 for 6, which seems like she she had like a tough training camp one time, came off of it, and then since then she's gone 6 for 6 like some absurd amount of times. Um, just absolutely unheard of. You got
It always looks so routine with her. That's what I'm always impressed. I mean, like she'll hit a lift, she just kind of like bebops off the stage, ponytail swinging. To me, it's been impressive to watch for sure.
and I didn't mention Miranda, but I think Miranda won, right?
She
She
did.
she she won in her
She did.
first senior international
Yep.
competition. So 58 kilos. I don't know her exact total, but I know she snatched 97 and clean and jerk what she needed to win. So, definitely a stacked team. Really, really cool team down there this time, and we're only like halfway through.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
I'm sure there will be more medals. Maddie's competing now. It looks like she's at the least going to medal. I mean, she's got to execute, but with a chance to win here. So we don't know how it turns out yet because they're not going to finish clean and jerk before we're done.
Right.
But yeah. So uh, how did Cali compare to other competitions? There's this funny skit. Do you remember Ralphie May, the
Mm.
the big fat comedian?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
He
Yes.
has this comedy skit. I know you're probably thinking weightlifting, so you're like,
Yeah.
how does Ralphie
Yeah.
May tie in? But
Yeah.
he
I
had
was
this
wait a
comedy
minute, where are we
skit.
going?
He had this comedy skit about Colombian coffee, and he's like, give me a real coffee, like 16 ounce. And they're like, no, sir, this is not regular coffee. So he's like talking about how he's fighting over a 16-ounce coffee, gets it, and then he's up for like 4 days. But
Yeah.
did you have any good Colombian coffee?
Yeah, so man, it's always a an interesting experience, right? Like when you're down there. So Bogota, was my introduction to Colombia, because before that, I can't remember where Junior Pan Am's was. Maybe it was in Colombia as well. Yeah, maybe it was. I can't remember the timeline now because we went to Junior Pan Am's first, and then we went to Worlds. So Bogota, obviously World Championship, everything's like high end. We're in a great hotel. We're getting lots of great food, the whole deal. And then you fast forward, and we're here in Cali, Colombia, and we're in a hotel. And I walk in, I sit down, and on my bed, I'm FaceTiming my wife, and I look down at my sock feet, and I'm like, oh my God, what is that? And I have like a ball of woman's hair stuck to my sock feet
I
from the
honestly
hotel
thought
room.
you were gonna
Okay.
say some sort of bug or something.
No, no, no. Okay, so Gabe and Hamp, bless their hearts. So Gabe, they come to dinner that first night, and Gabe's like, "So what do we do with our refrigerator?" And I was like, "Use it. I plug it in. I don't know why." He's like, "There's three cockroaches in there." I was like, "Oh, unplug it. Put it outside in the hallway. Don't put anything."
That's
But the
funny.
food, I mean, the food they gave us, it's one of those deals where like on the first couple days, there's hardly anybody there, right? So like the food is pretty decent. Like you're almost like they're cooking eggs to order, the whole deal. Like you've got good fruit. And then more people show up, and all of a sudden they get stressed. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, Americans, you are no longer eating in here. Los Estados Unidos downstairs. You go to this other place. And we're like, oh, we're going to get the leftovers now. That's cool. Sweet. You know? So it's definitely not glamorous. We'll put it that way. There's nothing
Well,
really glamorous about it.
yeah, Pan Am's typically, no matter where it's at, it's usually going to be somewhere in South America, occasionally in the U.S. or Canada, but most of the time it's in South America. It's usually Cali's not obscure, but sometimes it can be in an obscure city, and it's usually going to be at one of their sporting schools, which
Mhm.
it seems like that's what you guys were in down here. Which are like cool when you think about like they train there all the time and they probably have saunas and like
Yep.
different things.
Yep.
However, there's no AC. It's hot as heck, usually, and it does have stadium seating, but it's like the aesthetics aren't really as nice
Yes.
for Pan Am's. And they can do things like you're saying, like switch where you're eating. They can change your weigh-in time, weigh-in location. It's very common. And
So,
a lot of times we don't, have a lot of people that speak Spanish, but
yep.
unless like Danny Camargo or somebody's down
Right.
there with us, so
Right. Yeah, we were just kind of stumbling through it, between Mike Gatone and me. But yeah, that was something that funky happened. They have a published start list, and Gabe's number one, lot number one on the start list. And all of a sudden we go to weigh in, and we're standing there ready to go, and the lady's like, "No, no, 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 no. No, number four." And Mike's like, "What? No, no."
yeah.
Like pulling up his phone, like, "Here's the start list," and the lady's like, "That's what we have." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, this is new. This is a new one." So even though you have, a verified start list that's been published, it's like, oh, last minute, let's kind of mix it up a little bit. We'll keep it spicy, you know.
Yeah, yeah, you have to be on your toes, and definitely understand there's nothing against you. I mean, we've had situations before where people thought that like there was some like conspiracy against them, and it's like, no, that's just Pan Am's.
Yeah.
Like they change things, and it's not as nice, and you can't drink the water. I mean, typically, honestly, when you said it, we were so hungry, we went to this burger place next door. I was like, hopefully, you guys didn't get sick, but
No, no, and that was Gabe's biggest thing because when we went down last year to Guadalajara for what were we there for? World was that Junior World? I think that was Junior Worlds. No, that was Pan Am. Maybe that was Pan Am's. I can't remember anyway. So we're down there and same deal. Like he's everything's good, we're trending good, everything's great, and he's like, we just get done weighing in. He's like, oh no, and I'm like, what's that? He's like, my stomach, and I'm like oh no, and he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh man. So I'm like, I'm bringing out the dolphin. I'm hitting acupuncture points, trying to like down regulate his gut and calm him down. And, we had the team doc go run down and find some Imodium. And, by that point, it's like, man, I need you to eat. I need you to hydrate. He's like, uh-uh.
yeah.
I'm like, dude, this is not good, you know. So bless his heart, man. He was so worried that he would you know, end up messing up the platform or something. And I'm like, dude, if you do it, just make sure you make the lift, okay? I was like, because no one will lift.
Yeah. Um, 2 out of the 3 times I traveled to Colombia, so I've been to one of the each main cities. Cali, Colombia, when I was like one of my first international competitions for Junior Worlds,
Mhm.
and I got sick there, unfortunately. And I think that time I was like a little sick prior to getting there. Um, but yeah, bad experience. Just felt bad the whole time. Lifting wasn't fun. You fight through it and you hit a
Yep.
total, but it's just not a fun experience. And then we went to a Pan Am Championships one year, which was like the last qualifier for the 2016 Olympics, and we had to score team points. And we were training in the training hall, and I felt amazing. Uh, and then I don't know if I got like heat stroke or something, but I was like Morgan King and her boyfriend at the time, they got a cab because I started like throwing up,
Oh
and I
God.
was like throwing up outside the window of the cab, and like for the next 2 days it was crazy, and it was so hot. Just
Yep.
yeah, it was just that was in Cartagena, which was on the beach, so that's just like really brutally hot. Um, and then Bogota was a good experience because we were in that nice hotel.
Yeah.
It was tough, like the elevation, but lifting went okay. It was a good hotel. That was awesome. There was like a spa in the hotel and a
Yeah.
sauna. Remember
Yeah.
that? That was pretty
Yeah.
badass.
I mean, that was like, because we had just come off of Pan Am's juniors, and going there, I was like, oh man, this is it right here. Like, this is nice. Like, I can get behind this. And then the
Yeah.
next time we travel, we go back to like a junior Pan Am something or other, and I'm like, oh no, this is no good.
Yeah, a lot of them used to be like pretty low quality, but we had a competition in Houston that was hosted in the U.S. And when we had that competition, um, that that was super nice. Like Phil and the U.S. team did a great job of hosting and coordinating with the world, and it really kind of upped the level. So like the World
Yeah,
Championships every now and then will be nice, but like that one, everyone since like 2015 has been nicer at the World Championships. Pan Am's is definitely always a toss up,
yeah.
but hey, I think it makes you tougher.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah. When he
it's not,
complains of how hot it is, in the gym when he's lifting and, oh, I'm all sweaty. I can't hold on to the bar. I got to use strap. I'm like, dude, like we lift in South America like 90% of these international trips that we've been on. Like, what do you like? There's no AC. Like, this is normal, man. Like, just get with it.
yeah, yeah. I think the heat definitely makes you tougher. I will say I live in Rhode Island now, and I've lost some of my sensitivity, uh, or I'm too sensitive to the heat now. Although it's been hot this summer, like last year it was a very
Yeah.
mild summer. We've had like a couple days in the like 95, 100 degrees, which is very unusual for here.
Yeah.
And it's funny because usually natives of Rhode Island they'll say, "Oh man, it's real humid today." Blah blah blah. Like, have you ever been to Florida? I'm like,
You don't even know what
I'm
humidity
like,
is.
this is like the first normal day that I like, and but no, this summer has been. It's been hot. We had one day that was like 100, and I was like, "Wow, I'm
Yeah.
not used to this anymore." I don't,
No,
I
no,
don't
I
know if
can't.
I ever was, but I certainly am not now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, cool. What's next for you guys? Obviously, you got the World Championships, so he's ranked on the World Championships, and where that's going to be in Norway. That's pretty neat. That's like a total change of pace. Will be a lot different experience than this, I would imagine.
Total. So, I was bummed because, I was out on orders and didn't go to Lyon, Spain with him for Junior Worlds. And I was like, finally, we're getting out of South America and I'm stuck. I cannot get approved to leave the country. So going to Norway, man, I'm amped. I'm like, heck yeah. Like, let's go to some nice places. Let's go to some places we can like get out and about, see some things, not just, run down streets and Wildcats. So it'll be solid, man. I kind of gave him this week to kind of chill, do his thing, kind of free willing. I just told him, hey, I don't want you doing anything snatch or clean and jerk related over 70% this week, because he'll come back and he'll just try to max out every day, just to prove a point. So I'm like, no. I was like, go bench press or something, dude. Like, go have fun. So this week is kind of like a down week just to close it out, and then we'll start digging in and getting right back into training. So um, Norway, yeah, we gotta do some planning, right? Because so Gabe being a full time worker, obviously he has limited hours off, limited pay time off, and
Mm-hmm.
then he has to request everything, right? So he has I don't know how this works because I never understood like the hour thing. Like you have 16 hours of paid time off. I was like, okay, is that 2 days? Well, it can't be 2 days because you work 10-hour shifts, so it's kind of confusing. But so he's running low on time off. So they're going to organize another kind of like pre worlds camp. It's almost the way Mike explained it was it's like a heavy day, like a team heavy day,
Mm-hmm.
and he wants to get everybody out to the springs and put a big platform up and have some fun. And I pitched it to Gabe, and Gabe's like, nope, can't do it. And I was like, yeah, that's right. Here I took all that time off with the appendix and stuff, and I think
Yeah,
he got
that's true.
afterwards. So he'd already kind of dug a hole, right? And then you take off time for nationals, you take off time for Pan Ams, and then you look at Norway, and Norway is going to be, I think it's a 7 day. They're giving us 7 days, to get in country, get kind of acclimatized to the time shift and all that stuff. So it ends up being a stretch, for him. So that's the biggest, like his biggest concern in life is having to take time off of, his job that pays him well. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely difficult because, I mean, I appreciate the fact that they're professionalizing everything, giving people opportunities, but it's really tough to live a normal-ish life, right? I
yeah.
mean, because if you're not fully financially supported, you got to have a job, and then sometimes depending on what your job gives you, right? Like with PTO, and
Hmm.
even if like even if you have a certain amount of PTO, like once you run out of it, and you can probably technically take some unpaid time off or whatever, but they're still not thrilled about you digging into that. Like, even though they're not paying you, they're like, well, we need someone to like fix these airplanes.
And
So,
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's kind of a big deal, right? So he's great, right? Like he's a hardworking guy. He's great at work. They promoted him into like a supervisory role, which was funny to hear him tell me about. Just the way he's explaining it, and here's this 21-year-old weightlifter who's now the supervisor of 60-year-old men in this factory where
yeah.
we're making airplane engines, and so it was comedic relief, but yeah, he's just really dedicated, right? Like so, no lie we left at 2 in the morning to get to the airport, fly all day. We get to Atlanta, and this joker, I'm like, hey man, I got to run to get through passport control and get my connector to Dulles. He's like, all right, well, I'm gonna go to work, and I was, I was like, all right, high five, be careful, please. you know,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the kid literally went straight into work off the plane, and you know how it is. Like if you sleep on a plane, what do you get? A few hours. It's terrible sleep. Like I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, like your legs feel weird because even though you guys sleep, like you were sitting up, so your legs are all swollen, and you just feel like awkward.
Yeah, it's just weird, man. So, but the kids work at, I mean, that's it. Like the work ethic is just crazy. Like he doesn't want to miss, he doesn't want to let anyone down is probably the best way to describe
Yeah.
it. He's all in, man, on everything he does.
Yeah, it's definitely good. It's can be tough and sometimes you have to prioritize, but at the same time, how you do one thing is how you do everything to a certain extent. So
Right.
that's awesome. And you know, you got to have that mentality, do what must be done,
Hmm.
and don't really overthink like, oh, person X doesn't have to do the job that I do, and I'm so stressed at work, right? I mean, you start thinking like that,
Yep.
it starts becoming an excuse. So it's great that he's just like, no, I'm gonna do this. I'm tougher than you. I'm gonna do what I have to do, which is more than you, and I'll get it done.
And
You know?
and we've had those talks, right? Because, when you see, he'll have that doubt where it's like, how can I compete with X athlete when I have to work? They don't work. They get this big stipend, they get this recovery gear, they get whatever. And I'm like, hey, bro, like if you want all that, outlift them. Like that's it. Like
Hmm.
that's the end of it at the end of the day. Like, two, like if you sit here and you worry about your circumstances, like you're just wasting energy, man. You can't change it. You're not going to change any of that. The only way to change it is to, hit the numbers. But even if we hit the numbers and we get on a higher stipend, like he's not going to quit his job. Like that's a career job. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's not like a, hey, okay, I'm going to be on a stipend. I'm guaranteed 6 months of money. I'm like, like, are you going to give up your job because you're guaranteed to keep this for 6 months? No.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a difficult situation, and you know, I've tried to be a full-time weightlifter, and then you know, seeing the other side of it, and it's tough, right? I'm not sure how much of a difference it makes. It obviously makes some difference, right? But at the end of the day, I know a lot of my peers from a previous life really didn't progress in their career because of that, right? Like I luckily had a certain skill set with software engineering and had a couple of breakthroughs, so I was able to kind of transfer into a position where I work remotely and
Hmm.
could kind of, you know, still train a little bit. Whereas a lot of people didn't have that balance, and so they basically were all in on weightlifting for so long, and then they weren't able to build balance to continue doing it, so they're no longer able to. So I definitely feel blessed that at least I have a really, really good balance. Even
Yes.
though to a certain extent I wish I could train
Well,
full
dude,
time
it's
for a
like
couple of years, but
it's still impressive, right? Like I'm impressed every time I see you post something up. And when I ran into you at Worlds, I was like, yes, yes, like this is a real person. Like he has a family, he has little kids, like he's working, and here he is at Worlds. Like that stuff fires me up, man, because I'll be 43 this year. I still train as hard as I can, within reason, obviously, and I go through seasons based on where I'm at. But like I'm ready to get after it now that I'm back home. I love seeing people like not give in to excuses. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna get after it. It might not be perfect, but it's gonna be as good as I can make it.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I definitely think it's possible to maintain and organize your life in a certain way where you can maintain your level longer.
Hmm.
Um, And so, yeah, I mean, I think you can do things a lot longer than people thought you could. You
Yep.
know, when I first started, I probably said this 100 times on the pod, but they'd be like, "Oh, once you're 30, you can't do this anymore,
Yep.
so you might as well drop everything and do this until you're 30, and then after that, you just totally ignore the sport and just move on." And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, that's kind of the lens that I was viewing it through for so long, and then, you know, now with the lens that I have now, I feel like maybe in the short term I could have like not had certain experiences but then had better experiences later, but I wouldn't trade anything because regardless I have gotten to travel the world and do a lot of the things like you're experiencing
Yeah.
now, which are so amazing. So like I wouldn't trade any of them in. But yeah, the team now is doing great. I'm glad you were able to go down to Pan Am's. You've traveled so many times internationally with Gabe now.
Yeah.
Just kind of wanted to get you on to talk about Pan Am's a little bit. Is there any session that you wish you could have stayed for?
Man, we have not been able to stay for anyone's session almost for any trip, and that's probably the biggest disappointment for both Gabe and I is, he's always like, hey, I need to get back. I need to get back.
Yeah, because
And
he's got the next one, like you said, with the PTO,
yeah.
right?
And we just turn and burn, right? So like he lifts and we're usually out like the next morning. So I always like I love Trip. I love Hamp. I want to
Hmm.
watch him. Gabe wants to watch. I mean, Gabe will go train with him every once in a while and stuff. Like I want to see him lift. It's just so impressive. Um, any pretty much any of them, man. I love those kids. Like the young ones coming up now, like they're fantastic. They're just good people, and I want to see them succeed, and I want to see everybody have a good day. And it's just, man, it blows me away. Like with some of them, it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, man, it's I don't know. I can't really say one. I would have loved to see Caden throw some weight around. Like I said, I've been kind of following him. His dad and coach is fantastic. I like Chad. He's a good guy. So yeah, man, it's just I just wish I could hang out. Honestly, like I'd love to just go down there and like let me be the team doc or something. Let me just fill a gap or something, and I'll hang out.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, they're kind of used to be like closing ceremonies and like a banquet and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if they really do that anymore, but I think a couple of times they're for various reasons on the trips and probably the right move. You're not allowed to drink anymore, but we used to go to like closing ceremony and it was like really not crazy, but they would just have wine there. Or like if you go to Germany, they might offer you some beer that
Yep.
is brewed at a location.
Oh
And it's
yeah.
almost like it's awkward when you have to turn it down because
Yeah.
you're like, oh no, we can't. And they're like really proud of this beer that they brewed, and so they're kind of expecting not that you're going to get wasted and party, but like you're going to try their beer
Yeah.
and
Partake.
it's almost like when somebody offers you food and they're really proud of cooking it, and then it's like in certain cultures when you turn it down, they're like, ugh,
Yeah.
you know. So, so honestly, staying for the closing ceremonies isn't fun anymore because it's like you kind
Yeah.
of feel awkward just like turning them down.
Yeah.
But yeah, all these meets are awesome. I think people should continue to strive and support the kids and like Gabe for instance he is an airline mechanic, right? He works on airplanes and has a
Yep.
full-time job, and it's really impressive that he's able to do these things, continuing to get stronger. If he goes from the 60 kilo class to 65, he'll probably gain some muscle and get even stronger. Um, and push amps. So I think it's going to be a really cool quad and nice job. Thanks for jumping on, man, and
Yep.
look forward to having you on the podcast again in the future, hopefully. That being said, do you want to plug anything? I know you have your business and you're in different areas in weightlifting, so tell us about it.
Yeah, so we just moved, right? Like, we just relocated up to Maryland. So we're on Maryland's Eastern Shore. I've looked around. There's not a whole lot of clubs over here at all. Growing up here, I didn't know anything about weightlifting. So I'm hoping that I can grow the sport here in this area and reach out. Like Philly's not too far. So you've got 1440 up there, Philadelphia Barbell. You've got Dane Miller and his guys, Garage Strength. So I want to get up and hang out and see what they're doing up there. And I don't know who's down in Virginia, but try to find some neighboring clubs and just plug in with everybody.
How far from Philadelphia are you, and what part of Maryland?
So we're on the Eastern Shore of Maryland. We're kind of like nestled in between, almost directly between the bay and the ocean. On the like Seaford, Delaware is the closest like big town, and Seaford, Delaware is not a big town by any means. But we're building a facility here on the property. So we've got a pole barn out back, and we got about 4,000 square feet worth of space. And I brought all the equipment from the gym down in Georgia up here. So we're just waiting on things to get done right now, permits and whatnot. But the building itself, the structure's there. So I've gotten involved with the high school, and now it's just getting the word out. Hey, this is what we're doing. This is what it's for. This is what can help you with, and try to grow again after 15 years of being nice and stable in Georgia. There's nothing like spicing it up and just moving all the way up the East Coast.
Yeah.
So, but we've got so I've still got the barbell page up, Max Kane Barbell. The gym was Max Gain Health and Fitness. We've rebranded as Functional Human Solutions as I've done more of the soft tissue therapy and applied kinesiology and all of that stuff that I've been mixing in. And I start my master's in clinical nutrition actually in September. So trying to just hit all the things to increase performance, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the ideas that I always had that may or may not ever come to fruition is I always thought as an athlete, if you could have a team of coaches, right? So, you have your weightlifting coach who does who specializes in like the counting and the the programming of weightlifting stuff, but you might also have a strength coach, you might also have a mental coach, you might also have
Yeah.
a mobility specialist that you work with and a nutritionist if I didn't mention that.
Yep.
So yeah, kind of hitting the different areas. So I think it's really cool that you're becoming well-rounded. One area that I always thought might be cool to get into is sort of like life coaching as well.
Mhm.
Kind of helping people stay organized and organize their day because when you're working with athletes like Gabe, a lot of it comes down to time management. Some of them naturally have that, right? I mean, somebody like Gabe, he's getting it all in, but sometimes if you can help them structure, I think sometimes as a coach, even when you have the pedigree in a lot of areas, it's hard to sometimes you can let things go in one area. So sometimes it's cool to have different coaches. So I don't know if that's how weightlifting will progress or not, but that's always an idea that I had in
So
the
I,
back of my head.
I see where you get a bunch, or I don't want to say a bunch, but there are more strength and conditioning style coaches that are more well rounded coming into the space. Um, so that's nice to see, that we're expanding our knowledge and we're getting into that, the emotional resilience aspect of things. We're getting into, like you said, the life coaching. Like, man, I've had to take Gabe and just, because he's like, okay, well, do I lift when I get off of work at 3 a.m. or do I lift before I go in and get less sleep? Like, which one's better? I was like, well, which one feels better? Which one do you lift heavier? Which one do you feel snappier? Like, you have to talk through all these problems and come up with a solution, right? And that's where like my mind, like I have a curious mind. I want to know why. Like, why would this be better? And then just be able to impart that knowledge, that wisdom, and offer solutions, right? So that's where it's like, again, you're a little crooked coming up in your squat. I want to assess like, hey, what's going on unilaterally? What's going on with your hip? What's going on with your ankle, your foot, whatever. Let's find the problem. Let's find the muscle imbalance. Let's fix it now for the session with hands-on therapy, right? That's where the hands-on stuff comes. And then how do we fix it long term? Well, that's a rehabilitative, functional, kind of rebalancing of everything. So, I think everybody should strive to at least be versed in all of these domains, right? Just so when you go to refer somebody, that's my biggest thing, right? Like, so Gabe's down in Georgia. I can't put my hands on him all the time anymore. But who do I know down there that I trust to handle this? And, it might require him to travel and drive, right? But at least I know he's going to a provider in those realms that fits with my training regiment and the way that I see and execute things, right? So they complement each other. And if I didn't know, I would just be like, oh, dude, just go to the PT in your town. Just go to oh, this one looks cool. They got a cool name, Active Sports PT.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, at least now, like, I know enough about all of these things that I can look, I can question, I can talk, and I can say, okay, I don't think this place is going to be worth your time. Maybe go over here. So,
Which there's a lot of those too, for sure.
yeah. Oh, yeah, dude.
I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of people go to sketchy chiropractor schools or whatever, and it's just very salesy, and they kind of get you and hooked in, but they're not really doing anything. But so where can people find it? Your website is functionalhumansolutions.com, or is it?
Yes. Yeah. So the website's parked at functionalhumansolutions.com. Obviously, my Instagram handle is what is it now? Solutions underscore Coach J. Yeah, it was Max Kane for so long. It's like it's almost weird when we changed it. I was like, I've
Yeah.
got buddies from the army that refer to, that like, oh yeah, Max Kane strong over here. So yeah, it's But yeah, follow me there. Like I like to put little tidbits out of some of the stuff that I do with Gabe. I put, I did a little unveiling thing when I was working on him at nationals, which I think was eye opening for some folks. That was good, received really well. And if anybody has questions or anything, like, dude, I'll talk to people all day. I'm down for whatever. Like, there's no secrets. Like, I didn't invent anything, right? Like, I go, I learn, I travel, I go to seminars, I talk to people. Like, I am, I'm all about it, right? Like, I want to learn, I want to share, I want to pass it on. So, if anybody needs any help with anything, by all means, just reach out.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. Would love to have a follow-up episode that's like maybe not linked to a specific competition like this, but just, talk through different topics because like you said, you are very well versed in a lot of different areas. So there's different ways that we could go about a podcast. So thanks for jumping on. And for those of you out there, I'm Travis Cooper. You can find me at Travis Cooper 77kg on Instagram. Let us know who you would like to see on the show next. Hope you guys are enjoying these new episodes. And we'll be posting some of the videos possibly on YouTube. We're gonna post the audio on Spreaker. It's gonna pop up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as always. So again, hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye.